hitting me and getting in my comments, telling me what to tell King, okay? I know my son. Think I ain't spoke to my son? Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas? His ass going to prison. If you got to keep this up, his ass going to prison. Ain't no way around it. Ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it. Can't nobody stop it but him. You know what I mean? I've already had the conversation. I've already made my peace with it. Cause I know that energy. I was that energy. I know exactly how it's gonna turn out.
Atlanta found itself in the grip of pure chaos as the darkest whispers leaked from the ICU in the dead of night, shattering the silence at exactly 3 a.m. King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and R&B singer Tiny, wasn't just another name in the headlines. He was clinging to life, every faint heartbeat sounding like the ticking of a countdown clock. Doctors said the next 24 hours would decide his fate, but from the start, this wasn't just about a health scare. The deeper you look, the more it feels like a scene ripped straight out of a crime thriller. Torture, betrayal, sabotage, and a young man trapped in the middle of a deadly game that the whole world is now watching unfold. Inside the hospital, the atmosphere was suffocating. Witnesses said Tiny collapsed in the hallway, crying uncontrollably as her son lay connected to a web of machines fighting to hold on. T.I. was pacing, breaking down every time someone whispered about letting go. The weight of it all was crushing the family, but social media didn't wait for official updates. The first shaky videos of Tiny collapsing were already online, racking up millions of views within hours.
A lot of people hit me up like, King, I know you tired, you ain't getting no sleep, and the truth be told, before this I ain't been getting no sleep, you know what I'm saying? I just been outside working, lifestyle, lifestyle just lifing, you know what I'm saying? And, but now I'm damn sure not getting no sleep. This up every morning, and then around the morning time, he like to do that little live concert I be doing with him. And he like to walk around the house. So
hashtags like #PrayForKing and #JusticeForKing Harris dominated the internet, but not everyone was offering sympathy. Some cold critics labeled the tragedy as karma for T.I.'s past, throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. The battle for King's life had turned into a battle for his family's legacy, and the internet was split right down the middle. But then the story twisted darker than anyone expected. A leaked medical report revealed King's injuries weren't just random bruises or cuts. No, insiders said they looked deliberate, calculated, like somebody wanted him broken, not just beaten. The whispers got louder when a haunting audio clip surfaced online, allegedly of a prison guard muttering, "The order came from above, we just cleared the way." That single line was enough to send shockwaves through Atlanta and beyond. People began asking who wanted King Harris silenced so badly that they'd planned something resembling a hit job, not just a fight. And if this was true, what kind of power was behind it? Even in the ICU, King wasn't safe. Rumors exploded about masked figures sneaking into his hospital room in the middle of the night, tampering with his life support.
Got a grandson on the way.
Wow.
King's about to have a son.
King's about to have a son. Congrats.
Yeah. And I told him I'm gonna make this the greatest gangster of all time. I will raise this child to torture you the way that you tortured me. I promise you, there will be an indictment in this young one.
Though unverified, the very idea terrified fans and family alike. Think about it, a young man, beaten half to death, lying helpless in a hospital bed, while faceless enemies might still be hunting him down. It's like every horror you could imagine rolled into one. Atlanta was frozen in fear, but the Harris family was living it in real time. T.I. finally broke down in front of the growing crowd outside the hospital, his voice shaking as he shouted, "He's just a kid, don't let them take my son." That raw plea spread across the internet instantly, going viral in minutes. Celebrities like 50 Cent, Meek Mill, and even Kanye West began posting cryptic messages online. Some hinted at industry conspiracies, others at shadowy forces pulling strings. Cardi B broke down on Instagram saying, "That baby don't deserve none of this. I don't care what you feel about his daddy. Pray for that boy." Meanwhile, Snoop Dogg gave a chilling warning.
So my question to you is, I found just a non-felony amount of weed in that ashtray in the back, as well as in that basketball sleeve. So I'm gonna go over here and talk to these guys, and someone has to get charged for it.
This industry ain't what you think. Protect your kids. They coming for all of us. Those words alone shook fans to the core, making it sound like King's battle was part of something much bigger than one hospital room. And just when the Harris family thought things couldn't get worse, a bombshell dropped. A classified report leaked suggesting King had something in his bloodstream that didn't match any ordinary fight injuries. Experts said it wasn't from a jailhouse brawl. It looked like a chemical had been slipped into his IV after he was already in the hospital. That raised terrifying questions. Who had access to his room? Who could sneak in and poison a patient surrounded by doctors, nurses, and guards? Even hospital staff began whispering they were scared for their own lives, hinting that something sinister was unfolding under their very noses. Then came the video that set the internet on fire. A blurry, anonymous clip appeared online showing two hooded figures sneaking into the ICU at 2:47 a.m. One stood guard at the door, while the other moved toward King's bedside. The footage cut off suddenly, leaving the world with more questions than answers. Was this a real attempt to finish him off, or was someone staging a hoax to stir up chaos? Either way, hashtags like #ICUBreach and #ProtectKingHarris went viral overnight as millions demanded answers. How could one of the most high-profile hospital patients in America be so vulnerable? Who was really pulling the strings here? By sunrise, the situation had spiraled out of control. Crowds outside the hospital doubled, some holding candles, others carrying protest signs screaming, "Protect King, and we want the truth."
Alright, I need you to step out the vehicle.
What you want to do? You want to take my gun off my head?
Yes, sir.
There's one in the head.
Does your buddy have one as well?
It's guns in here.
Alright, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety. You gotta take the
There's no safety.
take the
Okay.
clip out of it.
Well, I'm not gonna mess around with that too much. Let me just set this down right here. Dude, step
Can I
out
get
for
out
me.
now?
Yes, sir. Place your hands behind your back for me. Alright, right now you're just being detained. You're not under arrest.
You straight?
I'm gonna be at the church. Alright, I appreciate you being cool, man. We're just gonna take a look at this information, make sure it's valid.
I ain't sure of this.
Just take a step to the side for me.
The air buzzed with helicopters, police clashed with protesters, and Grady Memorial Hospital looked less like a sanctuary of healing and more like a war zone. Inside, King's condition only worsened. What started as critical but stable collapsed into full-blown multi-organ failure. His lungs failing, kidneys shutting down, machines blaring alarms as doctors whispered to the family to prepare for the worst. Tiny screamed so loudly when doctors mentioned end-of-life paperwork that witnesses say her cries echoed through the ICU like a funeral hymn. The raw pain in that moment broke millions of hearts worldwide after a hospital worker leaked audio of her shouting, "Don't take my baby, don't take him from me." And while doctors raced to save King, the Harris family faced another nightmare. The growing belief that this wasn't an accident, this wasn't fate. T.I. snapped back at critics on camera shouting, "This isn't karma, this is murder." Paparazzi caught the heated moment, and once again the clip went viral. The public split into two camps. Those who believed King was a victim of a bigger conspiracy, and those coldly saying this was all payback for T.I.'s past. But deep inside that ICU, where machines beeped and alarms screamed, there was no room for debate, only a family hanging by a thread, begging for their son's life as the world watched every second tick away. The nightmare inside that ICU wasn't slowing down, it was only getting darker. By 5 a.m., doctors pulled T.I. and Tiny aside and dropped words no parent should ever hear. If things don't improve soon, we may need to discuss letting him go. That sentence shattered the family. Witnesses said Tiny collapsed so violently she needed medical help herself, her screams echoing through the sterile halls. "Don't take my baby, don't take him from me." A hospital worker secretly recorded that gut-wrenching moment, and once it hit the internet, millions of fans across the globe were reduced to tears. Social feeds flooded with prayers, crying emojis, and endless heartbreak. But deep down, something didn't add up. The deeper the leaks went, the uglier this whole tragedy looked. Then came another shocker. Insiders claimed an unidentified substance had been found in King's bloodstream, something he couldn't have gotten from a fight. Experts hinted it looked like it was introduced after he was hospitalized, raising horrifying questions about sabotage. Who could have slipped it into his IV? Who had access at that hour? It wasn't just the Harris family in danger. Nurses whispered they feared for their own lives. Some staff reportedly begged administrators to increase security, convinced someone was trying to finish King off right under their noses. That chilling detail made one thing clear. Even in a top-tier hospital, King Harris wasn't safe. Not long after, another clip went viral, throwing gasoline on the fire. A blurry security feed timestamped 2:47 a.m. showed two hooded figures slipping into the ICU. One moved toward King's bed, while the other stood at the door keeping watch. The footage cut off suddenly, leaving everyone wondering what happened next. Was this real? Was it staged? Or was someone deliberately cutting the tape? Fans didn't care. They were terrified. And hashtags like #ICUBreach and #ProtectKing lit up the internet. People demanded to know how one of the most watched patients in the country could be so exposed. Meanwhile, administrators scrambled to calm the storm, but when investigators pulled security tapes from that night, huge chunks were mysteriously missing. Was it a glitch or a cover-up? That silence from the hospital only fueled suspicions further. Outside, chaos exploded as hundreds turned into thousands. Protesters lined the streets holding candles, chanting and demanding answers. Some carried signs that screamed, "We want the truth," while others prayed on the sidewalks. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Riot police lined up with shields, and Grady Memorial Hospital transformed into a full-blown battleground. Inside, T.I. hadn't eaten or slept in over 24 hours, pacing the halls, punching walls, and raging at doctors. "You're not doing enough. Don't tell me to let him go." His fury boiled over until staff had to physically restrain him after he smashed a chair in the ICU corridor.
This ain't your fucking restaurant. This ain't your fucking restaurant. Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now. I ain't tripping on you. I ain't tripping. Get the hell out of my face. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Who the hell is he? What's your name?
What's your name?
My name King. You know it and your mama know it. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. File your shit.
Come back.
What? On game what? On game what? Come here. Come here. I'll show you what I do. Come here. I'll show you what I do. Come here. Come here.
That meltdown, caught on camera, went viral instantly, fueling headlines around the world. To fans, it was the image of a father at his breaking point. To critics, it was more proof that chaos followed the Harris family wherever they went. As if things weren't already unbearable, new whispers started spreading. This wasn't just about King's health. Rumors said he'd been working on music that called out powerful figures in the industry, and some believed that's why he'd become a target. Anonymous accounts claimed a top music executive ordered the hit to silence King before he could drop a track exposing deep secrets. Some went further, accusing government hands of being involved, calling it a plot to protect bigger names from being exposed. Whether fact or fiction, those theories spread like wildfire online, and the lack of answers from officials made them harder to ignore. Even celebrities weighed in, adding more pressure. 50 Cent blasted industry snakes for orchestrating a takedown. Meek Mill tweeted, "They silenced the future before it could speak." Kanye West dropped a cryptic warning. "This is what happens when you say no to them. They come for your bloodline." Snoop Dogg, with his chilling live stream, told fans to wake up. "This ain't what you think. They're coming for all of us." Those words were enough to freeze spines everywhere. Was King Harris really just a victim of a brutal fight gone wrong, or was he tangled in something way bigger than himself? Then the biggest twist yet hit the net like a bomb. A hacker collective leaked what they claimed were King's internal medical files. The documents allegedly showed traces of unapproved toxins in his blood, chemicals not authorized in any treatment plan. The caption cut straight to the point. They're not trying to save King, they're finishing him off. Screenshots spread like wildfire, and the crowd outside the hospital turned savage. Protesters screamed "cover up" and clashed head-on with police. Tear gas filled the air, live streams captured chaos in real time, And within minutes, millions were watching Atlanta spiral out of control on their phones. Inside, King's fight for life grew more desperate by the second. Doctors whispered clinical terms like multi-organ failure and irreversible damage, words that crushed whatever hope the family had left. At one point, a whistleblower claimed King's heart flatlined for nearly 2 minutes before doctors shocked him back. The idea that T.I. and Tiny nearly lost their son that night left fans gutted. Social media flooded with heartbreak, the hashtags multiplying by the hour. But behind the grief, one terrifying thought lingered. If his heart stopped once, what's stopping it from happening again? Was this tragedy unfolding naturally, or was King being deliberately held at death's edge? Tiny clutched her son's hand so tightly that nurses had to pry her fingers off just to keep working. She refused to leave his side, her face swollen from non-stop tears. Ty, on the other hand, transformed his grief into rage. Eyewitnesses said he shouted, "If my son dies, I swear the truth will come out. This ain't no accident, this is murder." That outburst spread instantly online, cementing the belief among fans that something sinister was unfolding. Even as critics mocked him, saying he was chasing sympathy, the sheer pain in his voice silenced many doubters. By mid-morning, Atlanta was drowning in tension. The streets outside the hospital resembled a war zone. Police in riot gear stood off against protesters waving signs, while helicopters hovered above and news vans lined the sidewalks. The city wasn't just waiting for medical updates, it was demanding justice. Every hour brought new leaks, new rumors, new evidence pointing to a cover-up. And in the middle of it all, King Harris lay unconscious, his body shutting down, while his family begged, fought, and prayed, refusing to let go. This wasn't just a tragedy anymore, it was turning into a national reckoning. By nightfall, the situation reached a fever pitch. Crowds outside the hospital had swelled into the thousands, their chants echoing through the Atlanta streets like a rallying cry. Candles burned bright, posters waved high, and the words "Justice for King" rang louder than ever. Riot police stood shoulder to shoulder, shields raised, as helicopters hovered above flashing spotlights down on the chaos. What should have been a place of healing now looked like a battlefield, and inside those sterile ICU walls, the Harris family was enduring every parent's worst nightmare. King's body was failing fast. Doctors spoke in cold, clinical terms, lungs collapsing, kidneys shutting down, multi-organ failure spreading like wildfire. Nurses rushed with emergency meds, machines blared alarms, and the tension was so thick it could be cut with a knife. Each update was more brutal than the last. "Prepare for the worst," they whispered to the family. And when that phrase hit social media, it instantly trended worldwide. #PrepareForKing took over Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as millions prayed for a miracle while bracing themselves for heartbreak. Tiny clung to her rosary outside the ICU doors, sobbing so hard family members had to hold her up. T.I. paced endlessly, fists clenched, eyes bloodshot, whispering under his breath, "God, please don't let them take my son." Then came a revelation that froze the internet. A whistleblower claimed King had flatlined. For nearly 2 minutes, his heart had stopped cold before doctors shocked him back to life. The news hit fans like a gut punch. The idea that the Harris family almost lost him left the world gasping. Social feeds exploding with broken heart emojis, crying gifs, and messages begging him to keep fighting. But instead of reassurance, the leak raised darker questions. Was this just the fallout of a brutal beating, or was King being deliberately held on the edge of death? The theories got uglier by the hour. Another anonymous source claimed prison cameras had been mysteriously offline during the attack that landed King in the ICU. Guards were reportedly ordered to stand down that night, fueling suspicions that this wasn't a random incident but a carefully planned move. And now, with hospital security tapes missing during the ICU breaches, the public was asking the only question that mattered: who wanted King Harris gone? Ty wasn't holding back anymore. Witnesses said he erupted in the hospital hallway, screaming, "If my son dies, the truth will come out. This ain't no accident, this is murder." Staff had to restrain him after he hurled a chair in fury, his grief boiling over into rage. That viral meltdown split the internet again. Half the world sympathized, while critics claimed he was only adding fuel to the chaos. But one thing was undeniable: the raw pain in his voice struck a chord too deep to ignore. And then came the coldest twist yet. A hacker collective released what they claimed were fresh ICU files showing traces of unapproved toxins in King's blood. Their chilling caption read, "They're not saving King, they're finishing him off." Screenshots spread like wildfire, and the protest outside turned explosive. Angry crowds screamed, "Cover up," as they clashed violently with riot police. Tear gas filled the air, fists flew, and live streams captured it all in real time. Within minutes, millions of viewers worldwide were watching Atlanta unravel, the hospital now ground zero for a storm bigger than anyone imagined. Meanwhile, celebrities kept the pressure boiling. Cardi B pleaded online, "That baby don't deserve this. I don't care about no beef. Pray for him." 50 Cent called out industry snakes, while Meek Mill claimed they silenced the future before it could speak. Kanye West's chilling words echoed across feeds. "This is what happens when you say no to them. They come for your bloodline." Whether you believed it or not, the message was clear. This wasn't being treated like a street fight gone wrong. This was being painted as an assassination attempt, a power move straight out of the playbook of hidden elites. By late evening, as Atlanta drowned in smoke and sirens, a leaked ICU security clip surfaced online. It showed masked figures lingering outside King's room, one clutching what looked like a metallic case. The footage cut out before anything else was revealed, but it was enough to send another wave of panic across the internet. Was this another attempt to silence him, or proof that someone was orchestrating every step of this nightmare? Nobody could say for sure, but the fear was real, and it was spreading like wildfire. At approximately 11:45 p.m., T.I. stepped outside to face the massive crowd. With trembling hands gripping the mic, eyes bloodshot from hours of tears, his voice cracked as he admitted, "They told me to prepare for the worst, but how do you do that? How do you prepare to lose your child?" His words silenced the crowd instantly. For a moment, Atlanta held its breath as the sound of helicopters, police sirens, and protest chants faded into stunned quiet. He continued through tears, "He's in there fighting with everything he's got, and all I can do is beg you. Pray harder than you ever have. He didn't deserve this, none of it." That raw confession spread like wildfire across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, racking up millions of views in hours. It was real, it was raw, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. But while T.I. begged for prayers, the public demanded answers. Why were prison guards ordered to step back? Why were cameras offline during the attack? Why were ICU tapes missing? And why did unapproved toxins show up in King's blood? The silence from authorities was deafening, and the longer it lasted, the darker the theories became. Was this a revenge plot, an industry hit, or the work of forces far beyond music beefs? By the end of that night, one truth was unavoidable. King Harris was still hanging by a thread, his body failing, his fate uncertain. Atlanta stood frozen in shock, the Harris family trapped in a nightmare that wouldn't end, and the world staring down one burning question. Would King Harris survive this nightmare, or were we witnessing one of the most tragic downfalls in modern hip-hop history?